Now to the war in Ukraine, taking a major turn. For the first time since the Russian invasion, the Ukrainian military is launching a large-scale assault inside Russia.
The IDF says it has struck a number of Hezbollah terror infrastructure sites in southern Lebanon overnight. This as troops are moving forward with operations in Rafah and central Gaza.
Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah today calling on all Arab states to take a stance.
Our response, God willing, will be strong, influential and effective. Between us and Israel are only a few days and nights till we meet in the battlefield.
Meanwhile, Hezbollah says they'll keep striking Israel with or without Iran's help. The two sides exchanging fire over the Lebanon border, with one Israeli strike killing 5 people on Tuesday. And as fighting continues in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis there is worsening.
And medical sources in Gaza are telling ABC News that so far today, more than 50 people have been killed in Israeli strikes. In Gaza City in the north, we know Israel has struck 2 schools, at least 12 people killed in those strikes, according to Gaza's civil defense. The Israeli military says those 2 schools were being used by Hamas as command and control centers. The IDF also telling civilians in certain parts of southern Gaza to move ahead of more military operations. And it's true, Diane, Israel's war in Gaza has been overshadowed this week by the threat of strikes by Iran and or by Hezbollah.
Israel lives in an existential moment. They either succeed or their enemies seek to eliminate them.
Fighter jets streaking across the sky near the Russian border of Sudzha, which is home to critical natural gas infrastructure. Ukrainian troops have seized several villages and they've advanced nearly 10 miles into Russian territory. That's according to pro-Kremlin military bloggers. The Ukrainians haven't commented on this operation, but overnight their troops are also storming the Russian-occupied Kherson region in southern Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin has convened an urgent security meeting, and he's called Ukraine's incursion a large-scale provocation and vowed to crush the assault.
With the war in Ukraine, they've allied Russia and Iran, and Russia is spiriting S-300 air defense systems into Tehran at a very rapid pace. So, and that, of course, is to prepare for any kind of Israel counterattack against whatever Iran does. So we are on the brink of something pretty large here.
Here is the region right now and the growing fears of a wider war. What does Iran do? What do they order Hezbollah to do in Lebanon? And what happens with the ongoing war in Gaza? It is a 3-front operation here, a 4th front if you throw in Yemen and the Houthis down here at the end of the Red Sea.
There have now been more than 170 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East in less than a year.
Part of an increase of attacks on Americans in recent weeks.
Israel is under existential attack here from Hezbollah, from Hamas, from the Shia militia groups that Iran funds from Iran. So we are on the brink of something pretty large here.
China has declared the United States an adversary. They want to dominate and control the region at the expense of the United States. They want to replace the United States as the world's leader, having global impact, and take our place in doing that. And clearly they want us to lose all of our influence regionally and globally as a result of those 2 goals and objectives. And when we look at the United States preparations for a war dealing with China, we're challenged to win. Indeed, we could lose. And we would likely, if we're at war with China, what we're saying is that it is likely that we would find ourselves in other theaters, Russia expanding or Iran expanding as well, and find ourselves in a global war. And we haven't faced anything like that since World War II. That's the challenge that is really in front of us. And I think it's the most serious and dangerous challenges we have faced in many, many decades.
Not because we're pessimists, but just because we're historians. And sometimes being ignorant is a lot easier than being informed. So what are we supposed to do with all this? Well, I think the first and foremost thing is, I think we need to recognize that we are living in these chapters, or we're very close to them. We're going to very potentially see these things play out in our lifetimes. We certainly see it happening in slow motion when you realize that when it says that Israel will be invaded by the Iranians and the Lebanese and the Syrians and the Iraqis and all these surrounding countries, when it says list by name who these countries are and they will surround it, and then we look at the Middle East today and go, wait a minute, That's exactly what's happening. And we see at the same time that the United States is refusing to send the armaments that the Israelis need to continue to defend themselves, especially the advanced weapons. They said, oh yeah, we're going to send them to them in 2036. Yeah, I don't think they'll need them before then. On and on it goes, and you just realize it's like we're the prisoners of history in the sense that the Bible says these are things that are going to happen.